p.m., 3 bells ring out. And that's the warning of an obstacle up ahead. First Officer Murdoch rams the engine ship's telegraph to stop, sending a signal to cut the power. He then demands the Titanic turn harder starboard, hoping to steer the ship to safety. And seconds later, the Titanic hits the iceberg. Many on board felt nothing. Even Frederick Fleet, who sounded that alarm from the crow's nest, said it felt like a close shave.
And yet, this glancing blow sank a ship thought to be unsinkable. The experts were hoping that the twin can show us how.
With the scan, what is exciting is that we actually do have our first visible ice damage. So take a look up here at this porthole. This porthole was smashed by the ice. First class passenger Margaret Swift saw the ice that had come through that porthole. That tells us that the iceberg was at least 30 feet above waterline. So the scan is telling us the size of the iceberg. It's definitively giving us information that will help us understand more about the collision that night.
It's tantalizing new evidence of the iceberg strike. But Titanic's fatal wound appears hidden from view. When she sank, the ship's bow hit the sea with such force that nearly half of it was buried in mud. Now the twin can provide the experts with a brand new perspective.
Okay, I have never seen this depicted before, and certainly not in this scale. We'll have a different view now. You see how much of the bow is dug into the ocean bottom? Can you imagine the force needed to propel that much of the ship into the ocean bottom?
I mean, the iceberg damage should be here, but it's not. We can't see it because it's under the seafloor.
No, it's at least 20, 25 feet below the mud line.
Although evidence of the impact appears lost to the ocean floor, the experts think that the twin could still provide answers. To decode the clues offered by the wreckage, the investigation turns to Titanic's birthplace. Taking over 2 years to build, Titanic was designed and constructed here, at Harland and Wolff in Northern Ireland, on the shores of Belfast Lough. A company at the forefront of shipbuilding, even today. Built in this dock, her blueprints were drawn up by skilled draftsmen next door.
Look at that. 1941.
Titanic was the most technologically advanced ship of the
I
age.
think that's my oldest one.
These original blueprints
What's
show
this
she was
one?
divided into 16 watertight compartments.
That one's in
These were designed to
1952.
collect floodwater in a small area. What's more,
1944.
Titanic would stay afloat even if up to 4 of these flooded. This was what cemented her reputation as the
1958.
unsinkable ship.
After the tragedy, Harland and Wolff's naval architect, Edward Wilder, was called on to explain how the ship's fail-safes were so catastrophically overwhelmed. His starting point was that more than 4 compartments must have been damaged by the iceberg. The weight of the floodwater pulling the ship below the surface.
Wilding set about calculating the impact of the iceberg and concluded that there had been a series of puncture holes along the hull on an area of about 12 square feet. Wilding based his findings
Nope, there's
on
my
the
oldest
testimony
horse
of
shit.
surviving crew and passengers, and on his own detailed knowledge of the ship's design. But even after the wreck was discovered, testing
see
his
it?
theory was impossible.
It's in
The evidence
1930.
buried below the mudline.
But now, the investigations brought together experts from around the world.
Holy cow, I almost have a 100-year-old penny.
At University College London, renowned naval
Here's another
architect Professor
1930.
Chum-Kee Pak is joined by fellow specialists Dr. Simon Benson and Dr. Stephen Payne, designer of the cruise liner
1930
Queen Mary
wheat
II.
penny.
This is the first time we can actually use a computer simulation to test Wilding's hypothesis.
Based on information
What in
from
the world is
Titanic's
that?
blueprints, combined with their estimated speed of 22 knots, the team uses cutting-edge technology.
So these two are 1930,
Wow, here it goes.
and then I got after that
You can see the
1940.
ship glancing below.
There's
It's actually turning to starboard
1941.
as it comes past. Which is very interesting. You can see the ice actually splintering off. We actually
1955.
now find out from these simulations that the time it took for the Titanic to collide with the iceberg, the glancing blow, took 23 seconds.
It's a 1957 wheat penny.
A mere moment. Yet what could have been a fleeting scrape proved catastrophic.
1956.
And the simulation can now reveal the full extent of the damage for the very first time.
Oh shit.
Well, this for me is where it gets really interesting because here we really see the power of the simulation. So here's the collision, and it very quickly spreads. What a thin line of gas, isn't it? You can see the ruptures appearing.
1957.
Wilding predicted that the total area of the holes would be about 12 square feet. We are, with
1958.
this new prediction, looking at something in the order of 18. And Wilding's estimation is incredible.
The figures may differ slightly. But Wilding,
1944.
the scale of the damage was minimal compared to the size of the ship overall. But crucially, it wasn't confined to one area.
1941.
Wow.
1958.
So this is the damage.
We're seeing a simulation of
1958.
the iceberg damage for the very first time.
The digital twin allows the experts to see the impact pattern precisely mapped out.
The damage begins in
1951.
front and it crosses over the compartments all the way to boiler room number 6, and then it
1958.
crosses into boiler room number 5.
1955.
You have one small section in boiler room number 5 and another very small section of damage
1953.
in the forepeak.
How small?
That last bit is only the size of 2 pieces of paper. That's 6 compartments
1944.
along the starboard side, and the ship was only designed for 4 compartments to flood. So you've
1951.
got small margin.
Dude, I still can't believe that I didn't know I had 2 1930s. Look at that.
So 2 small holes.
That's what the simulation shows us.
The areas that made all the difference are tiny. Small holes either side of the 4
And
badly
then
damaged
these ones have
compartments.
been run over by a train.
Without them, Titanic might not have sunk.
We all imagine that it was a
Dying.
giant hole that sank such a massive ship. In reality, it was a very small amount of damage over a long distance in fractions of a second.
Those have been run over by a train. Hi, Amy.
So if true, it suggests an irony that in turning to avoid the iceberg, the crew had
1952.
created an area of damage lengthy enough to open up too many compartments to the sea and sink the ship.
I think that's all my wheat pennies.
The irony doesn't stop there. Had the
Then
British
again, I
influence
don't know where
the
this
city,
one's from.
Wilder, one of the men who knew Titanic
Commonwealth
best,
of the Bahamas,
predicted that had the crew not turn
2015.
the ship to try and avoid the iceberg. Instead,
Weird.
hitting it head on, she would have stayed afloat.
I got a 1965 Canada
Put that
penny.
theory to the test.
Because this has never been done before.
No, absolutely not. Let's see it go. Oh, wow. Look at this crumpling of that deck. All the energy of the Titanic is now going into that collision.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. And I appreciate everybody who watched. Have a great night.